Hello, hello, and welcome to this new show brought to you by Not Being Funny Productions. I'm Forbes Longden.
And I'm Michael Langabeer. This show looks exclusively at retro video gaming. Delights from ancient history. Tell me, Forbes, what was it like back then?
Well, Michael, it was... Hang on a minute. What?
What?
I'm not like 40 or something, Michael. We're the same age. I can't even put it... Why would you... Do I look like some sort of weary old wizard to you? Clutching my Megadrive controller. This is outrageous. I'm not like one of your dad's friends where we go down the pub and have a drink or something like that. I'd be like, I remember you when you were a little nipper and we used to play the Sega together.
Are you not?
I can't believe that. I'm out of here. I couldn't get out that way.
Back to me. You may remember us from such a hit, but not so much a hit, show called Two Grumpy 20-somethings. I thought he was going to cut in there.
TGTS,
yes.
Two Grumpy 20-somethings.
Which you can find on YouTube. Moved on to this one now. Forbes, over to you, mate.
Anyway, okay, now I've got our shameless plug out of the way. Our first contender under the Two Grumpy Retro Gamers microscope is Midway's 1995 comedy brawler, the World Wrestling Federation Wrestlemania The Arcade Game.
Yes, we're stepping into the ring with the Megadrive version of the game. Or Genesis, if you're American, or Phil Collins fan.
Phil Collins. I was imagining his career probably died around the same time as this game's release, wasn't it?
Well, from the start, I would say.
Okay. Well, cruel. This game was released at the peak of the digitised graphics boom of the mid-90s, where it can easily be compared to 16-bit fighting stinker Mortal Kombat. It shares very much the same similarities to that game series, and also I believe it shares the game engine with Batman Forever on the Mega Drive as well.
Yeah, I remember it came released in WWF for the SNES, Saturn, PS1, not worth mentioning, and even that the mushroom thing that Sega did.
32 acts.
That's the one.
32 acts, yeah. Lost into the hallows of time, but that's a story for another time. Okay, yeah, I mean, when you look at the versions, there wasn't really much to tell them apart graphically. I firmly believe, however, that the Mega Drive version of the game is the definitive version, if you like, purely based on the fact that its control scheme, if you chose the 6-button Sega Mega Drive controller, as featured here, was an absolute delight to play. Basically, mapping the moves across all the 6 face buttons of the controller is absolutely wonderful. Marvellous. Fantastic.
I mean, that's it. Everybody knows that the cartridge is better than the disc anyway, but I prefer it's the 6-button pad, especially for this game. Not only combos, but just basic moves is so much easier to knock out.
And quick too. there's no lag from the moves compared to the sequel, WWF In Your House, which I certainly wouldn't want to be in Michael's house when he's doing that.
Yeah, I remember the Saturn version. It played alright. Looks lovely, but not compared to the Mega Drive.
No, I mean the Mega Drive version is the king of the crop really, and it's such a shame that Acclaim moved on to more serious wrestling games after Wrestlemania The Arcade Game came out and WWF In Your House. I think 1997 brought us Warzone,
yeah, and
1998 brought us Attitude, and then they sadly lost the WWF license, only retaining the ECW license.
Yeah, that's when we moved on to SmackDown 2, and then on.
Yeah.
So we didn't help.
No, certainly. We didn't actually, did we?
We didn't.
Young consumers, young stallions.
But anyway, should we play this game?
Yeah, I think you should step into
Shall I start? Okay.
Yeah. Go
6-button pads with the great one.
He's not in this game.
He's not in it.
Incidentally.
No. Don't need him. But when you do, press start and straight away into it.
In it goes.
You can't beat that.
Rap drain pipe.
I haven't played this game for so long. I'll tell you what, I used to use Yokozuna back in the day, basically because he was just so easy to use. He grapples straight away, so...
Yokozuna instant?
Yeah, as I'm coming back to it, I might as well start myself easy. It's gone into it, let's do it.
Yeah, top option, might as well.
No loads, it's just straight into it. Running across this huge ring.
Massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seems going forever.
Keeps on running.
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's see if I can remember it. Oh,
Big hammer.
big hammer for some reason.
Oh, he's been grabbed.
He's got been grabbed.
Yeah, oh.
Okay.
Kick
Throw him. No, he's got me again.
No, that's it. You can actually reverse.
Oh, look at that, reverse. I just did a suplex.
As Michael demonstrated there, you can reverse like the moves by mashing all 6 of the buttons at the same time. You can reverse a move if you are quick enough. You see a couple of hearts fell out of HBK there, and Yokozuna seems to be cheating by using a big hammer or something.
There you go.
Either that or it's like a big...
I to run away because he likes to do that, and then you just sit on him.
You kind of bailed that move, didn't you?
A little bit
there.
Yeah.
Shame. It's caught on camera now. But.
That's round 1. Straight into round 2. Finds out who's actually going to win this game.
Oh, Christ, that was a very good move. Got him in mid-air there. Oh,
you got me again.
HBK.
A little bit slow on that one.
No, so you've got a combo meter in this particular title where the combinations of left A, I think, which grabs the character, and then when you press things like left C, left Y, etc., you can pull off combination moves. I think I've only ever managed a 17-hit combo in my time of playing the game, but it's really fun to discover those combo moves. Basically, the game is mapped so nicely on the controller that you have a move for each button, so it's not as if technically you want to live on all the moves all the time. You can just keep experimenting around by pressing the direction buttons a couple of times with the button combination. It's something that's actually later brought over into WWF Warzone and Attitude as well. It doesn't work very successfully with a 3D based title though, I found. Okay.
Oh, he counted that one.
That was a massive kick to your face there as well. I mean, someone like Lex Luger, you know, when he killed his wife, or was it his wife, or killed someone else's wife? Randy Savage's wife, wasn't it?
Maybe he killed a lot of wives.
It was wife's sister, I don't know, it was someone like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Wife killer.
Straight into the second round now.
Still got that combo flashing out there, boy.
Oh, I do, yes. I'm still a little rusty of this one, I must say.
Yeah, certainly. You weren't rusty when you put it into very easy mode, though, were you?
Well, hard. It's very hard at the moment.
Yeah, I should imagine it is.
Yeah.
It'd be hard not to with Megadrive. Notice how we're playing on stock hardware as well. Every episode of this we'll be playing on stock hardware, not an emulation method. So we're playing on a UK PAL Sega Megadrive 2 console currently.
That's right, yeah.
Go on. I missed it again. Oh,
second wins.
Okay, that's something also that we can touch on there, is that some of the characters when you're on your second bout to win, the character that's about to lose can actually get second wind, and sometimes you can actually win the match by doing that. 9 times out of 10 you will get kicked back down and get pinned.
Perfect example with this game, because there's only 8 characters in this. I am now playing myself. I've of course got the original Red Pants, and the character which I'm playing myself is Purple Pants now.
Purple Pants.
Purple Pants. Which is a typical thing for this game, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You have, I think you have different outfits for all the characters, don't you?
I think it's just colour.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. So where some later wrestling games might move very much onto having different attires in general, this game sticks with just having a different colour palette for the particular pants that the wrestlers are wearing, the superstars are wearing.
That's right.
So yeah, that's a nice little touch actually. I haven't quite worked out what the button combination is to change them from the back, so I believe you can, in one player mode, change the colour of the trousers.
Oh, right.
That you're sporting at that particular time in 1995.
I feel I've had my win now. I've beat 2 wrestlers as easy as that. Would you? Careful, go.
Absolutely. It's time for him to pack up his spandex and get the hell out of that ring, because I'm approaching.
We'll show you how quick this is to use as well. Reset button. Oh!
Sega logo.
Sega, straight away. Obviously, he's got to come up with what it is. It's obviously the legal documents right there. A claim. You ever see that again?
No. Mind you, don't really see Sega, do you? For those of you that are quite young, obviously this is going to be quite a new concept to you. That Sega used to make games consoles, discontinuing them in 2001. Right, okay, you have your standard characters. I don't really stray anywhere away from HBK, to be honest. Easiest character I find to use in the game, so that's who I'm going to use today. Also, has a bit of a connection for me because when I was a kid playing this game, I used to think that the actual digitised character of HBK in the game used to look like a family friend of ours called Steve. So I remember I took in a picture of Steve to school and said that it was HBK.
Yeah, I remember that quite well.
Get around.
World Wrestling Federation? Oh, he's got Vince Carlento.
Right. Let's see how this is done. Okay, so again, easy control method. The game is pretty easy to play. You know, it's
straight with a drop kick.
Well, it's got to be done, isn't it? I said that a little too quick, didn't I? Here we go. Let's take it down. You hear how furiously I'm mashing those buttons there. All the chicken and fish that's falling out of it.
The multiple stamps. This is why whenever we was competing against each other, it's a two-player game by the way, if he was Shawn Michaels, I would walk away. Because it would be in a way cheating, because he's so good at his character.
He'd be back into the locker room.
Yeah. I ain't coming out into his Razor Ramon.
I'm not playing no Razor Ramon. Right, trying to get the combo up has its own risks because you've got to try and grab the character, which that didn't quite work out for me.
Yeah, because obviously he can kick out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of got a tiny little combo going on there. You have to bear in mind this is a cheap Chinese Megadrive controller, so if we feel the need to throw it against the wall, we can without really much great loss. The official Sega controller is slightly bigger than this.
Ah, the sweat muffin himself.
Sweat muffin. Brilliant. I was a little taunt then. Come on, come on. Come on then.
Oh, straight in there.
Yeah, oh Christ, ran up a drain quite really, isn't he? He was always quite a difficult character, I found. Get out.
Hitman the Undertaker.
Yes, and Hitman Hart as well can be quite difficult.
But they would make them a little bit better, wouldn't they?
The one thing that's quite amusing about this game is sometimes it gets very confused with its move process. So you can end up doing a very unpredictable move in mid-air. Like, for example, a character is running and you can end up stomping on their head as they're running, which there's no end to its comical value, certainly. Okay, let's just conclude this. Oh Christ. Oh.
The character I always found was not very good was Bam Bam Bigelow. The little flame thing he did on the top rope, do you remember that?
Oh, that was a really good move.
That was a good move.
I really enjoyed that.
That was the only thing he could do though. Anything else, he was pretty rubbish at it.
And his annoying theme tune. Bam! Bam!
That's right.
Where he got that from, don't know.
Showing his new gloves.
Emerging somewhere. And didn't you used to say he's putting his middle finger up?
That's right, yeah. Taunting us. See, with the Undertaker, his clothes wouldn't change colour. It would be the purple gloves and the shoes. They would turn silver if they were both on the screen.
Which is actually true to Undertaker's attire. That at one point he did actually change to grey attire.
Yeah.
So true to life. I mean, they could have just digitised any character for Undertaker, couldn't they? Because you can't see his face.
See how it goes on the drop kick straight away? Half his life just disappears. Trying with the base of that. Run.
Wait.
Bones and skulls come out of him. Try not to dig into his pockets. You can't get that base back across that head. Oh, there he goes.
What's quite comical about this is that when we did a couple of takes on this game, I actually got double perfect, like pretty much, for the matches that I was playing, and now
struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
You didn't change it, so very easy.
Where is that? As you can hear, you've got a digitalised representation in true 16-bit fashion of the wrestlers' theme tunes. Quite catchy, HBK's one. I think a lot of the tracks in this game are pretty catchy, aren't they?
Yeah.
You find yourself sort of tapping your toe every now and again to the music in the game. It's not unpleasant.
No, but
at all.
You can only do it with this one, though, can't you? Well, not the themes, just the music in the game.
That's very true. Yeah, which versions was it that didn't have the music in?
It was the Saturn
Saturn version, okay.
and the PS1. Obviously both disc. games.
Disc-based versions of the game, and they can't have the soundtrack going through the game.
Crazy.
I find that pretty odd, to be honest, and that's where actually this game is relatively odd in the way of the fashion of the versions that were released over time. Basically, what we'll cover into that, that basically you had the Mega Drive version, which was released November '95.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that was across North America and in the PAL regions. What we are sporting here is a PAL copy of the game. And then what do we have? We have the
SNES.
The SNES
year
version,
after,
which is 1996 that came out. Then Saturn, PS1. Can't remember when the 32X version arrived, because obviously being from Europe, the 32X version only came out in North America, so it's very difficult for us to pin when that actually came out. I should imagine it probably was the same time as the Mega Drive Genesis version.
I was assuming so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The 32X version of the game isn't particularly great, purely because it runs at 30 frames per second, whereas I believe the other versions, at least the other 32-bit versions, run at 60 frames per second, and the 32X version bizarrely features the same amount of lag as the Mega Drive version.
That's right.
Odd. Very odd. Any omissions in the SNES version?
I believe it was the poor choice of characters, wasn't it?
Right, okay.
Where the rest of them, Mega Drive for example, has 8 characters, SNES will have 6. Missing 2 of them. Do you remember which ones they are?
Yes, Yokozuna.
That's one.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
And Bam Bam Bigelow, yes.
Bam
2
Bam
characters
Bigelow.
you couldn't get in the SNES version, which I find a bit strange.
I find it awfully odd, because anybody that knows their folklore with this game, I mean, it's quite an obscure game anyway, so chances are you're learning new stuff as you're going along with this. But what we found was, when we were kids, there was a rumour that used to persist, bearing in mind the internet wasn't in, it was in its infancy back then, that there was a secret character in the game itself that never actually made it in, which back then we used to think it was 1, 2, 3
1,
kids.
2, 3 kids, yeah. X-Pac, maybe some of you might know them as.
Yeah, or not. Especially not today.
Unless you like porn.
Well, that's a story for another time. But the character that actually was featured, and there is truth to this, it was confirmed by one of the programmers, which is Mark Turmel.
I was going to say Mark Hamill then, but it's not Mark Hamill.
No, not Mark Hamill. He hasn't worked for Sculpted Software. That there was a wrestler who was meant to be in the game, and do we know who that is?
I can never remember his name. I remember he came out of wrestling the same year that the game was going to be released, which is why they canned it. I can never remember his name.
In 1995, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was Adam Bomb.
That's the one, Adam Bomb.
Adam Bomb, which I actually had to go onto Wikipedia to Google whether that was a real wrestler.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is damn true, isn't it? When we were doing our research for the game, we did actually have to look at Adam Bomb. No, I risk I remember him.
No, really can't.
No. So yeah, so it could have been an even greater loss to the SNES version, if you think about it really. So if you are a 16-bit Nintendo owner and you have Wrestlemania The Arcade Game, look at it this way. You might only have 6 characters, but it could have been potentially 3 that you didn't have in your game, alright? Every cloud.
That's right. So I think it's a bit strange that they would choose such a character to have as an unlockable character when you've got so many other wrestlers out there.
Yeah, well, I can't understand why Kevin Nash wouldn't be in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems very odd that, yeah, that's just... Or Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious, that would have been really good.
Yeah, he could very well have been in the game.
But yeah, because he came out of wrestling, obviously it was halfway through development, they canned it, I mean it's still part of the game.
Yeah.
But they released it anyway. Very strange.
Could have even had Rocky Maivia in it. Smell what Rocky's cooking? Been cooking for a long time.
Didn't he come in 97?
No, I think his Rocky Maivia gimmick might have been 95, 96.
Not in WWF. Very long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the SNES version also, curiously, cuts down a lot of the voiceovers and commentary in the game as well. The Mega Drive version retains a lot of the commentary found in the arcade game, which is quite amazing considering that it's probably on what, an 8 megabit cartridge,
yeah,
versus SNES cartridge, which was inevitably bigger. So I don't really understand why the SNES version was so gimped like that. I think they probably threw it out the door. But the thing is when we look at it, the plot thickens a little further than that, doesn't it? Because there are problems with the PlayStation and Saturn version as well, isn't there?
They did, yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If you ever played the game, it would freeze. And it's definitely just the one in the game, really, especially if you've got the Megadrive version where it's just so crisp and clear, and no problems at all, but yeah, as with disc ones, it just froze all the time, didn't they?
So was that during particular parts of the game, or was it...
was it during the Royal Rumble?
Battle Royal, wasn't it?
Battle Royal,
yeah.
That's the one, sorry.
So yeah, a character would leave and then it would pause and one would come in.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a wrestling game since SmackDown 2, Know Your Role.
Yes.
Which had it for the Royal Rumble, where a character would come out, it would pause to play their music and stuff. Bear in mind that's a 3D wrestling game very late in the generation, 32-bit.
That's right.
This one is a 2D wrestling game based very early in the 32-bit generation, so there's not really much excuse for it, to be honest, considering that it was outported. But this shares a trend of titles that would have been released at the very tail end of the 16-bit life cycle. You would have games that would be cross-generational, so your 16-bit titles from the SNES and Mega Drive would often find their way onto Saturn and the PlayStation at the time as well. Some, I was just about to say, would find their way onto MS-DOS as well, but I don't really know whether some games started off in MS-DOS, quite possibly. So yeah, maybe they got downported, whichever way. Whatever. You know, you have cross-generational releases. I mean, the PS1 and Saturn versions of the game were visually far better than the 16-bit releases, and the 32X version is probably the weakest of the 32-bit versions, but still looks pretty presentable and does look a step over the Mega Drive version of the game.
That's right.
I mean, that being said, the Mega Drive version still is graphically very nice, isn't it?
I think that's why we chose it, just for the speed and the fact that we do prefer it out of all the others. Not only that, saying that, we was looking at prices of the games as well, wasn't we?
Yeah. I mean, going by 2017 standards for how much the game is worth, I mean, I did some research and found that the Mega Drive release of the game is worth, in the box, bear in mind, between £15 and £20 depending on whether it has the manual and everything like that, etc. Whether it's Genesis or European Mega Drive version. That makes
probably find more that's slightly overpriced just because it's immaculate condition. Yeah, they're entitled to try to get away with that, but we're agreeing it's about £15, £20. It's worth that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what did your research throw up on the PS1 version?
The PS1? Yeah, with the PS1, which was obviously such a hype when that console came out, we didn't like the gameplay, but it got such good reviews. That being said, it's a little bit underpriced. It was £10 to £15.
That's quite reasonable. Worst port of the game, though. I mean, I looked at the Saturn version,
yeah,
and I found that to be worth between £8 and £10. A paltry £8 to £10. Inevitably, probably harder to get than the Mega Drive version, I would say. And I would probably say it's second best on the port list. Yeah.
Oh, I would definitely say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I didn't have the Mega Drive available, I'd probably go to Saturn. That being said, it's quite cheap, so I'm happy with that.
So it'll work out right for you,
yeah.
wouldn't it? How did you find the SNES version?
The SNES
stacked up.
The SNES, yeah, it was about £10, £15.
Really?
Yeah. Little hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fitting snugly into the cruiserweight category.
Well, it kept coming up with all the Mega Drive ones and the Saturn one, PS1. You know, I searched for it and it came up.
Came up eventually.
It did.
At £10, £15. Ouch. And that is complete in the cardboard box.
The pictures was. I didn't really read the description to be truthful with you. The cardboard boxes are probably hard to find anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the 32X version is probably the hardest version to get. As we touched on earlier, it only came out in North America very late in '95. 32X already packing up its pots and pans by that point and shipping out of there. Again, in cardboard boxes, so invariably it is difficult to get complete. You know, if you are going to seek out a 32X copy, make sure it is in the cardboard box with the inner box and the black and white manual as well to go with it. Prices, if you're in this country, prepares to be shocked. You're probably going to be looking between £30–35 to get a complete copy on the 32X these days. Is it worth it? No.
Well, you got to find the console first.
That's the hardest part. Finding a 32X that works.
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, it's a lot better to get the Megadrive, which is why we're displaying it today. Cartridge, you can't go wrong with cartridge, super fast. I've never been one for graphics, never really bothered me. If I can see it, I can play it.
No, absolutely, I'm the same as you. It comes down to the gameplay of the game. Graphically, if we were going to score this game, I would still, in today's standards, put this as very impressive.
Yes.
It's very immersive. You don't find yourself looking at it and saying, oh god, that's an ugly game, because it's intentionally comical.
Yeah, it's an arcade game.
Yeah, it's what it's meant to be. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's the arcade game. It's a very close port to the arcade release.
Just like you would get Mortal Kombat.
Mm.
Still today, which I think is definitely overpriced. I would not pay full price for a Mortal Kombat game. This is an arcade game to me, so...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sound-wise, we're quite impressed by this release. I think music was pretty good.
Yes, definitely.
The in-game battle music, you don't really get tired of, and you sort of start to not hear it after a while as well. So it sort of slips into the background quite nicely, slots in great. Gameplay-wise, how do we feel?
Absolutely brilliant. Especially you've got the 6-button pads.
Pick up and play. If you're going to buy this game, make sure you have the latest 6-button controller for the Mega Drive. You will thank us, because you don't want to be pressing combinations of A and C to run, and different button combinations to get your moves. Everything's mapped on the face button, and it makes everything so much better to play.
That's right.
Overall, how would we score this game, do you reckon?
I want to say 8? 8 out of 10?
8 out of 10. In fact, I was initially shocked, but I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with an 8 as well. It's an 8 from me, it's an 8 from him.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Not so grumpy this episode, but...
no, it wasn't, was it? We're actually quite upbeat.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
It is.
It's a fun
You
game.
can't not like this game.
That's right.
It's absolutely fantastic. So basically, it's won the hearts of both of us.
Yes, I would say so. As for next time, we haven't decided on the game yet, have we?
No, I think we're just going to play the element of surprise, really.
Yeah, but we'll do the same again. We'll choose a game, and with that game, we'll choose the best console we think it goes on, and we'll display it to you.
Little pro tip, chances are it'll be Sega consoles each week, but, you know, spoilers.
It's set up, I mean, what can you say?
We've already got it set. Yeah, so as Mike said, we'll be picking games around. It won't necessarily be 16-bit titles, we will move to 32-bit, 64-bit, 128-bit. Obviously we're missing out the Jaguar in the 64-bit generation, but...
Unfortunately.
So, okay, I've been Forbes Longden for this episode.
And I, of course, been Michael Langabeer. We'll see you next time.
Catch you later, bye.
Bye.